They said Gray paved the way, changed the rain, released the pain, least you sane, getting paid, trend setting, brighter days, doper rap, tighter sets, high in Delhi, I'm a fighter jet, journey.
What's really good, ladies and gentlemen? It's the OG Boricua Dandara, aka Mr. UWN. That's what I'm gonna throw it out there now. It's been a while since I gave myself some kind of new name.
Yeah, whatever.
I'm here with Muffins Martinez, Mr. Muffins Martinez. Talk to me before we talk some MLW Underground. The last show on the Underground.
Yes, sir, man. It's your boy, your quintessential Puerto Rican Muffin Jorge, aka Muffins Martinez. I told my brother, bro, take my hair, give me a 1. I don't know what happened. He took it all off.
He gave you a 0.
Yeah, so he forgot. I'm like, dude, what happened to the 1? I said, you want it? Yeah, I wanted that 1, but forget it now. It's too late. So, and also shout out to the boy Santana from LAX, Born Nasty, from his stuff, before, from last year, the year before. Hopefully he'll come back at 100% whenever he comes back. So shout out to Santana, baby. Oh, Chef, what happened last night, brother? Woo!
All right, so now I know. All right, I want you to talk it because I'm gonna come in a little hot with something, right? Because my energy was already gonna come in bad, and lately, the energy on my behalf and everyone else has been kind of crazy towards MLW. So I'm gonna play the wingman. You talk to me. I'll play wingman, and we go from there.
All right, man. Me, everybody has their point of views, their ideas, how the show goes, or how it's supposed to go. Me, I liked the show last night. I really enjoyed it because it was action packed. I mean, there are people getting jumped in up front, people getting jumped in the back, people getting jumped outside in the bathrooms, everywhere, and they have matches. So I really enjoyed this episode. They were talking about how Hammerstone was hurt because he pulled the groin or whatever. So he wrestled last night against Mr. Thomas. So they basically took the match from the April 8th episode or tapings and put it to last night. And then they went back to the April 6th and put the last 2 matches there. So they had the tag team main event, which I love. I love those guys. They had the current. They're the current House of Glory tag team champions, the main event, and they went up against SST last night. They got a lot of offense in. SST, of course, won because they are the tag team champions. And they had the Becca versus your girl Brittany Blake, another awesome match. And I was really, really impressed with Becca. I will definitely say this. I was really impressed with Becca. I'm like, wow, this girl can actually go.
Well,
hold
on. Instead of us overshooting things, let's take it a step by step and start.
I like to overshoot things and then go back. You know me already.
yeah, for sure. Now I do want to say,
No, go ahead.
Oh yeah. Becca, being that I control the Urban Wrestling Network Instagram, and I like a lot of wrestling, I get random, on your wall, you'll see something that even though you don't follow somebody.
Yep.
Becca's somebody that kept popping up on my thing, so I looked at her stuff and I was like, okay, she's interesting, she's a good wrestler.
Yep.
And then she came into MLW, and like I said, I haven't seen the match until previous.
Yep.
I was like, all right, well, I'm not just going to give my take on this small sample size from Becca. Let me go see what her overall thing is. So I'm scanning through her Instagram, and she could cut a promo, she could work a crowd, and she's a phenomenal worker, right? And I'm gonna throw AB under the bus because that whole she's a wannabe Jeff Jarrett thing, I don't get it, right? To me, Becca is, I think she's something completely fresh, right? I don't think we've seen something like this, or I definitely have not been watching wrestling a long time. Not saying I've watched a lot of everywhere, but I haven't seen anything like Becca. And she does feel like what is it, an international pop star or superstar?
A pop star, yes.
Yeah. So I dig it. Like she versus Brittany Blake, who we've seen, we know her work. And both girls went, they did their thing, but Becca seems like, we know we signed N.W.A, who I'm going to keep praising you, because when nobody knew who she was, and you were the C-star since you first seen them before they were on TV for months, because you were at the show. You were talking about N.W.A for a hot minute, right? So now we see her sign. We know she's a big deal. But now you look at it, you go, damn, Becca's a big deal too, right? Like, you got to actually keep her in the house. There are other names that are flying around, but Becca seems to fit that MLW feel. And I think she'd be an awesome person. And they got a lot of chemistry together, her and N.W.A on the independents. So I'd like to see something with them. But yeah, taking out Brittany Blake the way she did and showcased a power game, aerial moves, like she showed, I can do everything you want more. I can make them hate me. I can make them sing my music, and I can out-talk any girl here. Becca's some real wild shit. I'm telling you now.
It's like, okay, here's Becca. She looks like another wrestler.
Yeah.
But when you see her wrestle and how she wrestled last night, I was like, holy crap, hold up. I didn't see this before when she had her matches here in MLW. Like, they actually let her go off last night. Like, okay, go and do your thing and impress. And she did that. I mean, I was very impressed. I tweeted out saying she definitely needs to be on the tipping top of the featherweight division, and go to Spotify and download her single. So, go out there, support. But yeah, she definitely impressed me last night. And then we were supposed to have the main event that never happened because, like I said, it was a lot of people getting interrupted. So now we go back to the beginning of the show, Hammerstone against Mr. Thomas. After the end, here comes the calling. One by one, Hammerstone gets him down, but now here comes the SST from the back to even things out. Later on, SST finishes wrestling against the main event. Go to a commercial, come back, SST's in the back fighting against the FBI. They're brawling in the back. And you were like, what the hell is going on here? And before Fatu could come out to wrestle Johnny Henneman, he gets jumped and laid out by the calling. So, dude, it was a very fast-paced show. Like, if you blink last night, you would have missed something. I mean, they even had an interview with Delmy, EXO in the back, about her coming in, being signed, and being the first one signed under the new, 2023. Like I said, if you blink, you missed it, because it was just like an action pack, just boom, boom, boom. And then you go like, damn, why couldn't they give me this before? They tease me with, well, this is the last episode because they go on a mini break. Yeah. And now, you give me this. You teasing me, man. Like, what the hell?
See, now I don't want to pat ourselves on the back. I don't want to do that. But before this came out, and I don't think I read anything about dirt sheets of SST and what do you call it, going ham against each other, the calling. We did say that SST needs something and the calling needs something. And, will they match up with SST? We kind of get that, especially with taking out Fatu and then brawling with the Cuzos. They're going to bang out. The one thing that I love everything that you said about was FBI getting into their own thing, right? Like their own beef with it. Also, Ray Jazz is seen on the teaser for the summertime we're coming back. Ray Jazz is on that commercial. So we're like, okay, because we really like Ray Jazz, and on a small sample size in Battle Riot, you got him versus Alex Kane. Yep. They showcased it. Alex Kane and Mr. Thomas were like, yo, we got to run it back with at Ray Jazz. Like they real recognize real. It's that old school saying, real recognize real, and they respect the real. This show, like you said, fast paced, everybody brawling, everybody doing something. My one critique, right? Because I'm a Bomaye guy. You like Bomaye. We're both Alexander Hammerstone fans. At this point, Hammerstone beating him hurt, to me, kind of did nothing for Mr. Thomas, right? Like, it didn't even feel like Hammerstone was hurt. You know, he might look like he was, but it never affected the match, really.
Yeah, exactly.
So that was my beef with that. But, I mean, listen, Mr. Thomas gets a title shot, which is a huge thing under his resume in MLW. He gets it there and say, look, yeah, I didn't win, but with the opportunity, you know, I did well against the champ. You know what I mean? It also gives Bomaye Fight Club a little more something going on, because we do know that Alex Kane is lined up. I think never say never.
Yes.
It's Alex Kane and Alexander Hammerstone.
Yep, they already announced it last night that he turned in his golden ticket for that.
And that's Philly, right?
That's going to be in Philly, July 8th, which is going to be a Saturday. And like Junior was saying last week, how are you going to make or how are you going to be able to do a promo or get people invested into a maybe Kane versus Hammerstone match? Well, they jumped and said, well, we're not going to do any promos. We're not going to do anything. We're just going to announce it now. And that's it. It's been announced. That's the main event. Just with no bills, no nothing. They just he catching his ticket, and it's going to be July 8th on the pay-per-view. The first pay-per-view since the pandemic, because they had one before the pandemic hit, and they were going strong, and then the pandemic kind of took every company took everything the momentum they were building got taken off, and then they came back like everybody else. Now we hit the break. Now they're off to May 25th, and they come back, and I think we'll talk about that. You mentioned in a different show about that one. So.
Yeah. We'll talk fight on a different show, and then we're going to talk something else.
But I wanted to say, MLW Kurt Bauer. We always say we need more tag teams, more feuds. The main event, they looked great last night. Do you have to sign these guys or have them be at your live tapings? Hopefully they'll have a match at the pay-per-view, for like a contenders match for the next person who wins that gets a tag team title. Do something with them, because those guys are electrifying, man. If you watched the match last night against SST, they were getting a lot of moves in, a lot of offense.
The wild part about that is, like, the scary part when you think wrestling, you think size, right? Pause.
Yep.
But Lance is way bigger than both of those dudes.
Yeah.
And then you got Juicy, right? So you sit there and you go, how can these guys possibly push these guys, right? And then you see these guys aren't some run-of-the-mill little, randoms on the indie who think they're stars. Yeah. Nah, these guys are stars. They just haven't been signed.
Yes.
Right? Like, this is kind of like this is like those huge rappers that are on the independents that, they know their value and they're not just gonna do whatever. These are those guys. These guys are legit stars. They're legit problems for any tag team. I mean, like you said, I was going to say Hog, even though it's House of Glory. They're the tag team champions for a reason. You know what I'm saying? These guys came in and they look great.
And they used to have bangers against the Briscoe brothers. Rest in peace, Jay Briscoe. Yep. They had a phenomenal three matches that took almost a year. When they were the tag teams, then the Briscoe took the titles from them. Yeah. The second time they lost, and the third time it was a banger, and they got the belts back from the Briscoe brothers. So these guys, like you said, when the pandemic hit, they went to AEW and they were doing AEW matches there.
Yep.
So they've been seen. They proved, they showed last night that they could go. Now it's just time for them to get signed by hopefully MLW would go like, "Oh, we need these guys here." So,
you have FBI, and those guys are a great tag team. Like I said, we've interviewed. I'm not trying to do the cheap plug. We've interviewed Ray Jazz, and he personally said, it was like we've been tag team partners forever. Like we just clicked, right? So then you got SST with Juicy and Lance, who you're like, they're obviously they can go. I guess the calling would be, at this point, it would have to be Akira and Ricky Shane Page, because we don't really know what Delirious is doing outside of Battle Riot and War Chamber, but that's not really a tag thing, right? It's like a group versus everybody. So as of this point, and then you got Second Gear Crew. Now, I want to bring them up real quick because I thought that, remember we watched the the last match, Ric Flair's last stand or some shit.
The last match or whatever.
They had like that country. What was it? Some brawl, right?
They had like a battle royal.
Yeah, and one called Manders was in it. And that's the first time I seen him.
Yep.
And I told you, you know about this? And you're like, oh yeah, he's super legit guy. Guy is ill. Yeah. And I was like, oh shit, like. So you hear that name, you know what Mance brings in, Mance Warner, because we've been watching him forever. I didn't know nothing about the Matthew Justice guy. He went nuts in War Chamber to the point now I do my homework and I'm like, yo, this guy's legit. So if you put one called Manders and Matthew Justice in the tag team, you really don't need much more if you could bring in main event. Yep. Because you got SST, the calling, FBI, SGC, and then the main event. That is a nice core.
And also, any two guys from the Bomaye club.
True. I mean, at this point, the only tough part is I'm hoping he becomes heavyweight champions. I don't think they're going to put him in that position, and that's why I would like one more wrestler in Bomaye Fight Club to kind of give a little distance of everyone else, and then Alex Kane. But if he don't win, I would love to see him in there because I would like to be kind of like the Samoa Joe of MLW. Remember, Samoa Joe kind of won every title, did his thing. I would like to see Alex Kane in that position at some point. But damn, you know what? Who was your favorite beatdown? And then we'll end with that and go into the other ones.
Well, what you mean? Oh, who got beat up last night?
No. Which one was your favorite beatdown scenario?
Well, shit. Last night, I mean, I was excited when the SST was going up against the FBI there in the back. So, I said, okay, here we go. I can see this match happening at the pay-per-view coming up on July 8th. If it hasn't happened in the next two tapings that they had, since we don't read them, I don't know if they did wrestle or not. But if they haven't, July 8th would be the perfect day to have the FBI go up against SST for the tag team gold. So,
my fault. I seen my whiskey keg thing. I didn't know what it was. I was like, "What is that?" And it's my whiskey keg. What I want to say, because you know what? I think we'll touch it. We touched everything we want to touch on. Besides, I'm. Here, this is my last one. Promise on this one. I read that people in the back, and they didn't say exactly who, like Creative, was very high on Becca. And usually when you hear that, people get signed, right? Yeah. That they the agents or the scout of the match or whatever. If Becca becomes that, do you sit there and go, okay, even though we don't know who's really a featherweight person, do you instantly say, okay, now she's going to be the heel and be the threat to Del Miexo?
Oh, for sure.
I think she's
for sure. No, for sure. They know each other outside in the Indies. They know each other here. She'll definitely be the heel to Del Miexo coming up in the future. I mean, they still haven't mentioned Taya, and Del Miexo. So we'll see that match happening.
I bet you that's the main event for the first show. They're going to have a title match, and I bet you that's it.
Yeah, so hopefully they'll show that before June so we can move on and say, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
So I'm waiting for that. And then hopefully she'll be showing the belt more on social media.
Absolutely. You know what? Today is Wednesday.
Yeah.
Like you said, we'll drop this for tomorrow, Thursday. On Monday, we drop MLW Confusion. On Tuesday, we drop MLW Confusion. They're doing great numbers right now. Definitely want to jump over there. And also, I know he has his own links. Definitely want to check out his stuff because I like the fact he's unbiased. And I'm going to say that now. Like, he keeps it 100. He likes what he likes. He doesn't like what he likes. Kind of fits in how we do what we do. He's been great. We're trying to figure out some kind of timing, how we can all jump on here, talk a show. But definitely check all that out. We got interviews with all these super dope things in our links below. There's a bunch of amazing interviews from all the MLW talent, independent people, Impact Wrestling people. We got to thank ICW, which at that point they were with WWE at that point. There's a whole bunch of great interviews all over the board, N.W.A, all that good stuff. For myself, the big homie, A Beans, MLW Confusion, we out of here. Deuces.